Welcome to another episode of the Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts and one of your commissioners. My name is Frankie, and sitting right next to me is Cam. Cam, how are you doing?
Dude, Frankie, it's championship week. Isn't everyone so excited? Because, we're all just couldn't be more bought into our championship game. Wait, no, I lost last week.
Yeah.
Wait, why are we doing this podcast?
That's a good question. We're some sad boys over here in the podcast room, but we'll keep going. We'll
power through,
push on, and we will do our duty and talk about the matchups this week, much as I really don't want to. But we owe it to the league to do it. So we will start off with our usual. We're actually going to be not doing waivers this week because none of the waivers are really important for the matchups that actually matter. So we're going to be going over the Pro Bowl that we're going to be doing. So that'll be fun. Do our weekly rewind. We'll do another check-in on our teams draft. And then we'll do our championship games analysis. Do our usual pick'ems. And then we'll end up with a mailbag. How's that sound to you?
I'm excited for this mailbag. So many people submitted questions that care about this league.
Yeah. Even with an extra day to submit. Anyways, get right into it. So, Cam, you had this idea last year about a Pro Bowl. Do you want to just explain what you were thinking?
Okay. So this is basically, we're taking the best players from each of our divisions and going to have a division matchup. We have Rotlack versus Studs and Stoners versus Alphas. Basically, the way it'll work is the divisions will have to get together and decide on a roster that they want to start taking players from all of their teams. And we're going to create a team that's twice as big as the normal team. So 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 2 of everything else. And so this is just something to do week 17, get some division bragging rights in. I don't know, maybe people want to put money on this.
I guarantee they do not want to put money on this.
That's fair.
I can guarantee that.
But yeah, just to, finally say, if we combined our teams of the divisions, who would have the best roster? Just something to do.
Yeah. You guys, I've heard some slights against me in terms of divisional pride before, such as, I should have let another person into the championship bracket if I really had divisional pride. Well, I mean, maybe, but this will be an actual test of divisional pride. We can actually come together and find a common cause, which is beating the Alphas and Rotlacks. Let's go, Studs and Stoners.
You're gonna need some luck there.
We're gonna need some help. Alrighty, so we'll start here with our weekly rewind. We'll go over the 2 matchups that we talked about last week, which were, of course, the 2 playoff matchups. We'll start off here with Tyler versus Dylan. Dylan coming out on top here with a pretty convincing win, winning by over 30 points here. We'll start over on Tyler's side, though. James White was kind of shut down by the Pittsburgh Steelers in that game. They didn't have a whole lot running. Sonny Michel didn't get much going either. So the running game was pretty null and void there. And they didn't get much in the passing game either, too. James White just didn't have that many snaps, which is kind of curious to me. Yeah, and then other things from Tyler's side here. Andrew Luck and the Colts offense got up too early and didn't really give Luck the time he needed, the drives he needed to, and the urgency they would need to put up good fantasy points. So it comes up with a disappointing week there. Eric Ebron had a pretty bad drop in his game, and he had a misconnection on a deep ball, which ends up with him with less than 2 points. Not something you wanted from a guy who's been a stud the last several weeks. It's just a lot of down stuff all across the board for Tyler, unfortunately. And one other note here, Nick Chubb, 20 carries for 100 yards, but is completely gone from the passing game, which he's has been helping him a lot getting those PPR points. And his studs did well. AB did fine. The entire passing game for the Steelers was almost non-existent in the second half of that game. It was like the Jalen Samuels show, but did enough for about 13 points, and Julio with a little over 17. Pretty good there too. But yeah, just Tyler needs a lot more from his running backs and his quarterback, and Ebron especially. His defense didn't do him any favors either. But yeah. And then let's move on here to Dylan's side here. Dylan, impressively enough, survives this matchup with Keenan Allen going out very early in that Chargers game, goosing him for 0 points there. So he was able to do that off the back of his running back strength, and Dalvin Cook and Chris Carson combining for over 50 points there. And then to back up that, Mahomes had an okay game. This is actually his first game of the entire season where he scored under projection, but still 17 points. He really can't complain about that at all, considering what he's gotten from Mahomes this season. The Vikings receiving core did pretty good did all right for him. At least Stephon Diggs did. Adam Thielen has another down week. He hasn't been super dominant at all really since the bye. He's had a couple good games, but at least he's been definitely noticeably worse over the second part of the season here. Something to watch for next week, and we'll talk about that. But then there's been a storyline in pretty much every fantasy league is Derrick Henry becoming this unlikely fantasy hero, having last week with over 47 points, and this week almost 30. Seems like a very startable player to me. I think Dylan actually has him in the starting lineup for this week right now. Mm-hmm. So I'll look forward to seeing that this week.
Yeah, basically all the players on both these teams either did okay or underperformed besides Dylan's running backs who went off for him this week, and that's all Dylan really needed to put him over the top in this game.
Yeah.
It's a rough loss for Tyler.
Yeah, but Tyler, you are still in the money. You have a game this week against Cam. For a coveted third place.
Coveted.
And speaking of that, let's talk about your matchup now here. Justin versus Cam. I'll start on Justin's side. Not to brag at all, but I did predict that the Falcons would be a top 5 defense this week, and they were number 1 on the week, just saying. I can't get anything right on my team, but when it comes to other people's teams, I can kind of okay sometimes. And then other stuff on Tyler's side. Dante Pettis had another good week. I think it's his 3rd in a row. I guess 4th in a row. Wow. He's looking like he's going to become a really hot topic in the offseason going into the next season with his kind of performance and getting Jimmy G back. Other stuff on Justin's side. It's a 3rd down week in a row for Goff. Even though I think he had heard from a couple of different people. I was like, it's been had a rough week against Chicago, not great against Detroit, but you got to start him against Philly. One of the most beat up one of the most beat up defenses in the league. Just don't worry about it, and he ends up under 10 points. I don't know. You can't start him with confidence against Arizona. He does have Russell Wilson, who did fine. Russell Wilson has KC, so that's probably where he's going to be going instead. But Justin's usual players did well. Mixon and McCaffrey always there to help him out. And I guess one only note there is that Christian McCaffrey was not seen at practice on Wednesday. On Thursday this morning. He was not seen in practice today. I haven't seen a reason why. That's just something to monitor, I guess. And then on your side, Cam, you just want to go on your side?
Yeah, sure. Thursday night went well.
Yes.
I threw a Hail Mary with Mike Williams, just hoping that it'd work out, and boy, did that work out. But then, but also Thursday night, Tyreek Hill had his worst game of the season.
Yeah.
Really hurt me there. Sunday morning, I had, the Giants kicker who goose-egged.
Yeah.
Bears defense who was fine, I guess. CJ Uzama was boring. And then come Sunday night, pretty much in the need of a miracle. I get some hope because Jared Goff underperforms. Then Monday night, I'm down 13. He's got Christian McCaffrey. I have Kamara and DJ Moore, who I decided to start, hoping that if Christian McCaffrey underperforms, DJ Moore might do well. Cam Newton's a bum with a broken shoulder.
Yeah.
My God. So all they needed was Christian McCaffrey to be their quarterback, throw the 50-yard touchdown, and I lose.
Another season lost, Cam, and our league name remains strong. Anyone but Cam.
Lassie, still salty you didn't pick up the Falcons defense when you're just going for all of the defenses.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Maybe I should have picked them up considering I thought they would be a top 5 defense. But I didn't even honestly at the time I didn't even think about it.
Literally, I feel like if Justin picked up any other defense, I'd be in the championship right now.
Yeah. Probably. Alrighty. Well, that's just how my fantasy goes. Alrighty. Let's move on now to our teams draft check-in. We'll do another one of these here. Going over the teams real quickly again. Cam, you have Levi, Jake Logan, Justin, Tyler, JP, and Logan. And I have you, Dylan, Devin, myself, Lassie, and Greg. Both of us have players in the League Championship and the Consolation Championship. but you have both of the players in the last place game as well.
So I have all of the championship games. I'm the best team, right?
Yeah. Well, are you feeling strong about your team this week, or you think it's...
I feel like everyone that I have that's playing in a game has a good shot to win their game, or at least a decent shot. But JP and Logan really let me down there. Wasn't expecting Greg to make it out of that toilet bowl, to be honest. But way to go, Greg.
Go, Greg.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it ends up.
Yeah. I think I have... I'm not sure if I have the Constellation Championship champion, but I'm pretty sure I have the league champion on my team. So I'm feeling good about that, and I'm feeling good about you having 11th and 12th guaranteed on your team. But yeah.
Logan, you were my dark horse for Constellation champion. You let me down.
Yeah. Alrighty, so now let's go into our championship games analysis, and we'll start off with the important one, Dylan versus Justin. Congrats to both of you guys for making it. It's been a long season, it always is, and excited to see this matchup. We'll go over it like we've done the last couple of weeks. We'll go position by position, and we'll start off with Mahomes for Dylan versus Russell Wilson for Justin. It's pretty hard to bet against Mahomes in any week. Although Russell Wilson does have a more favorable matchup playing against the they're playing each other, which is fun. And the Seattle defense is definitely better than the Kansas City defense, at least when it comes to fantasy. So you think Russell Wilson could have a boost that way, but they had to. The Seahawks are they passed the 32nd most in the league. So last place. And Mahomes is always always slinging it every game. So I think you have to give the advantage to Dylan in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the only way Wilson will be passing enough for Justin to keep up with Mahomes is if Mahomes has already scored a lot to where the Seahawks are down and have to pass anyway. Which in that case, Russell Wilson might run enough to make him score more than Mahomes. But I'm just feeling like the Seahawks are going to do the best they can to just run the ball, keep it out of Mahomes' hands, and Justin's got to hope that Russell Wilson can throw a bunch of touchdowns to make up for it.
Yeah, it's like we saw 2 weeks ago with Minnesota. Like the Seahawks can win games, and Russell Wilson can manage a game without scoring a lot of points. So we will see here. Alrighty, let's move on now to running backs. Some good amount of question marks here. It's looking like James Conner is not going to play this week.
I don't know if you want to start him against New Orleans anyway.
Yeah, and it looks like he's not going to start Jalen Samuels either. Has him on his bench right now. It looks like right now he's starting Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry, and then he has Chris Carson in his flex there, as opposed to Justin, who has Joe Mixon, Christian McCaffrey, and Theo Riddick in his flex there. Some injury questions on Justin's side, with Mixon missing practice Wednesday, and then getting a report this morning that McCaffrey missed practice today, and Theo Riddick just being the most underwhelming player, the most just what you're getting with him kind of player, as opposed to Dylan's side, who has Dalvin Cook, who's with a new offensive direction that they're going since firing DeFilippo. They just want to pound the ball, and in this divisional matchup, I think that could be pretty good for him, considering they need the win a lot more than Detroit wants. They want the win a lot more than Detroit does, I think. And then we talked about earlier, Derrick Henry becoming this fantasy, story out of nowhere against Washington, probably the second most beat up defense in the league, playing on Saturday. So that'll be an interesting thing to see how that game goes and can shape the rest of the week. Maybe they'll change out some flex decisions or something. And then Chris Carson against Casey against a very beatable run defense. I think you got to give the advantage here to Dylan. It's just especially with all the questions on Justin's side.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting here because Dylan has Chris Carson, who we said could just run the ball a whole lot against Kansas City, as Seahawks is trying to keep the ball out of their hands. So Justin's really got to hope that the Seahawks get down and Russell Wilson have to do a lot of passing just to keep points away from Dylan and put them at his quarterback spot.
Yeah.
And then also, Derrick Henry, I feel like none of us would be surprised if he puts up another 25-point game, but probably wouldn't be surprised if the Titans just don't use him at all and he gets 2.5 points too.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy how much could change based on that Saturday game for Dylan. Overall, though, Justin's got players that are solid, Joe Mixon, Christian McCaffrey, but they both are running with backup quarterbacks now, which, could either mean that they're used a lot more or that the offense just won't work, and don't know if they'll have as many scoring opportunities. And finally, Dalvin Cook against Detroit. The Vikings with their new offense coordinator trying to run the ball a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since the Snacks Harrison trade, the one thing Detroit defense has been really good at is stopping the run.
That's true.
So it's going to be interesting to see, like, when that rock meets the hard place, which one's going to give.
Yeah. So I think, that's actually that's a good point. I didn't really consider that. I forgot about that trade. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Christian McCaffrey is the highest scorer of all of them. I don't think anyone would be surprised by that.
Not
But I don't know. I think it's maybe the overall slightly advantage to Dylan, if not, pretty close to even there. All right, let's move on now to wide receivers here. A lot more questions on Justin's side as well. T.Y. missing practice Wednesday. I don't think it's a big deal. It's usually Veterans Day to take off practice. Not a big deal. But the big question mark is OBJ missing practice again this morning. This morning being Thursday. This is he sat out the last 2 weeks and playing against a Colts this week if he does play. I don't expect him to at this point, but and I don't even know if he is active. I don't know if Justin wants to start him at that point, but I don't know, because Dante Pettis has been a rising star these last 4 weeks. Has been pretty dang good, and is playing Chicago, but I don't know. I still think Nick Mullins and that San Francisco offense has been clicking a lot. And then looking over more to Dylan's side, as I mentioned earlier, Adam Thielen has not been great. He hasn't been that league stud since about the bye. I think it's like week 8 or week 9 or something, or week 10. Yeah, since week 10, hasn't been great, but still been fine most of his weeks except for this last week here. And then on Dylan's side as well, he has the injury to Keenan Allen, who I think it looks like he's going to play this week, but he does have Baltimore, so I wouldn't be too excited to start him either. And Dylan doesn't currently have him in his starting lineup. So yeah, I don't know. There's just so many questions in this category. I'm going to give him an even. I don't think anyone necessarily has an advantage at this point.
Yeah, Dylan's got those 2 Vikings wide receiver against Detroit. The last 2 weeks, the team playing Detroit hasn't scored more than 20 points, both because Detroit, their offense has just been completely inept and their defense has been all right, so you don't really need to do a lot to beat them.
Yeah.
So I don't see a lot of upside on Dylan's side there, and this is also a divisional game. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do a lot for Dylan this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just broke off a couple long touchdowns. It's going to be interesting. On Justin's side, Dante Pettis versus the Bears does scare me a lot, just with how the Bears defense has been. T.Y. Hilton didn't practice this morning either.
Didn't he? Oh, I didn't see that.
Saw it from a different thing.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of question marks here. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they both just gotta pray.
Yeah.
Whatever gods they choose.
Pray to Santa. He's coming to town.
Oh yeah.
hope we pray to Santa and hope that Krampus doesn't come and eat you up here.
Also, reminder: get white elephant presents, or New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I've been saying I'll send out a text for that for like probably a month now. But anyways. All right, let's move on here to tight ends here. We have George Kittle on Dylan's side versus Jimmy Graham on Justin's side. Obvious advantage for Dylan matchup wise. Not great against Chicago, but Jimmy Graham is just not a great player anymore. 4.7 points last week to 2.3 the week before. I'm not seeing really any upside here with Jimmy Graham. He's also dealing with a thumb injury. And if I'm Justin, I'm looking elsewhere to the waivers to pick up somebody and put him in with some actual upside. Because as it's going so far, I think Dylan's definitely favored in this matchup overall. So yeah, advantage is clearly in Dylan's favor and on Dylan's side.
Yeah, Kittle's a beast. No idea.
Yeah.
What Justin's gonna do, but he's got to do something.
Yeah. Let's move on now to defense and special teams here. Miami Dolphins for Dylan with the Chargers. For Justin, Dolphins against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Chargers against Baltimore. I think the advantage probably has to go for the Dolphins, I think, in this matchup, just because the the Baltimore Ravens are trying to squeak into the playoffs here, trying to get that 6th spot. that last wild card race. So they're going to be fighting hard as opposed to Jacksonville, who doesn't really have anyone to fight for. I can see that game script going really well for Miami, who is also trying to make a playoff push. You know, neither of them are divisional games, so they're not generally lower scoring. Although the Miami versus Jacksonville is like a war for Florida, if you will. I think the advantage is probably on Dylan's side with the Dolphins defense here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Chargers have a better defense overall, but the Baltimore offense is just built so risk-free with just running the ball so much.
Mm-hmm.
Justin's got to hope the Chargers can get ahead, force Lamar Jackson to throw a bit, because if he does that, I wouldn't be surprised if he throws a couple picks.
Yeah. Alrighty, and then the last here we have kickers. We have Legatron with Dylan against Brett Maher? Maher? Is that really how you say it?
I think so.
Alrighty. Advantage Legatron. Moving on?
Yeah. I don't think it's that big of an advantage.
I mean, yeah, it's like Rams versus Arizona. I can definitely put up some points there. But Dallas versus Tampa Bay, Dallas has been surging the last several weeks. They could put up some good points. Although, I don't know. Anyways, kickers. Yeah. Alright, so that was our championship game analysis. But wait, we have two more kind of games that are kind of somewhat championships in a way.
Yeah, they're playing for things. That's for sure.
Sure. So the next one we have is the Constellation Championship, which is Jake versus Devin. I'm sorry to both of you that like the matchup. You can't see the matchup in real time on Sleeper. Yeah, I don't know, man. So yeah, just looking at let's go over Jake's roster here quickly. Here, starting Jeff Driscoll in the championship. Jake, I think that's not a wise decision, but it's a glory play, and I like that. In the divisional matchup against Cleveland, I don't know, just has an affinity for Driscoll that I can't explain. But yeah, and then pairing that with Zeke against Tampa Bay and Gus Edwards against Chargers that we just talked about, two very good running backs here. And then Robert Woods, always a stud for the Rams. And Mike Evans against Dallas here. I'm going to say Mike Evans had a good week last week, 14.1 points. Against Dallas defense, I feel like we've been talking about the Dallas defense for the last month and just how it's been probably their best defense in the last decade or so. Not super excited to play that. Evan Ingram. Oh, I didn't see Evan Ingram had a good game last week. Congrats to him.
Yeah, when Odell's out, he does well.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Corey Davis and his flex. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree or have any huge problems here on Jake with his roster, besides the fact that his entire bench is only defenses. So he's looking to start the Bengals. I don't know. Is that the right choice here?
God, no.
I don't think so, right?
I'd start the Colts over them. Oh my God. Why do you have so many defenses, but they're all trash?
Yeah, it's like the hell of bad matchups.
Jesus Christ, Jake.
Do you have any other notes on Jake's roster here?
Yeah, no, not really.
Not too much. All right, let's move down here to Devin's roster here. Devin has some question marks about Todd Gurley and his injury, not practicing on Wednesday. Or some just doing walkthroughs, I guess. But the way Sean McVay is talking, it seems like he will play, which is good because if he isn't, because that's playing against Arizona, very, very beatable run defense. Quarterback is looking to start Deshaun Watson against Philly. He has Nick Foles on the other side of that matchup too. I'd probably go Deshaun Watson on that one. But yeah, Marlon Mack and Jordan Howard. Yikes. Did Jordan Howard do anything last week? Oh, he's been fine the last 2 weeks. Congrats. just as I told you to stop starting Jordan Howard, he starts playing well. At least you are starting him. And then Marlon Mack had a good week last week too. 24 points against Dallas. Another divisional game, or not another divisional game. Same division against the Giants. Let's see here. Alshon with a sickness. Brandon Cooks against Arizona. Ertz with an injury too. He has an ankle injury. He had was almost invisible the last week. But he's probably still play here. And
Gurley with the injury too.
Yeah, I was talking about that earlier. Yeah. Just just the way Sean McVay's talking, it looks like he will play, but you never really are can be totally sure. Oh, yeah, he has Baker. I wonder if he wants to start Baker at a quarterback.
I would. Playing against Hugh Jackson?
Yeah.
Hundo.
In Cleveland. Yeah. Do you have any other notes on Devin's roster here?
Alright, all I really have to say about this matchup, this is the 4th matchup between
Yes.
Devin and Jake
Yes.
so far this season. Jake has won all 3 of them
All 3 of them.
so far. The first 2, he won by less than 3 points.
Yes.
Both times. This most recent one, he won by, 17
About 17,
points?
yeah.
So, Devin, if you don't want to be consensus absolute worst alpha that there has ever been, then, dude, you gotta at least do something for me here.
Yeah.
But, I think Jake's just got your number, and I'm picking Jake in this one.
Yeah, I would too. All right, now let's get on to the last championship, if you will. The last place game.
Oh, boy.
Which we have here is Logan versus JP. I guess we'll start here with Logan's roster because it's showing up here. The quarterback, he has Kirk Cousins in his bench, but Lamar Jackson's starting. I mean, I feel like you can't, like, even against the good Chargers defense, I feel like you can't go wrong with Lamar Jackson as a quarterback just because of those rushing yards, giving him an amazing baseline there. Against Kirk Cousins, who is, hasn't been, had last week was all right. The last weeks before that, not so great. Although he's playing good teams for the most part. And then Detroit, yeah, I mean, if Detroit is able to stop that running game, and Dalvin Cook, he could be throwing for a bit more here, if he wants to start in Kirk Cousins. But I think the smart play is probably Lamar Jackson. And then, oh God, Elijah McGuire, Kenyon Drake against Jacksonville.
Okay, so Frank Gore went out last week,
Yeah.
and Kenyon Drake still got 3 or 4 carries, right? How many carries did he
Let's
get?
see.
He got 6 rushing yards.
6 rushing
3
yards.
catches. My God.
Yeah, that's
Good trade, Logan.
glad that I drafted him so high. Yeah. And then Elijah McGuire. Cam, we were en route to Mount Hood yesterday.
When we were scouting the mountain.
I was making a point that I never want to see another Jets player on Logan's roster for the rest of time, because Elijah McGuire, Chris Herndon, Robbie Anderson, Trenton Cannon. I think he dropped someone. He dropped Quincy Enunwa earlier this week too. Dude, I don't know if he's if this is a troll, because you're only trolling yourself. You gotta step away. I feel like he had Isaiah Crowell on his team for the longest time too, and yeah, dude, just stay away from the Jets, my guy. I don't know. And then we to receiver Devontae Adams. Been in contention for best overall wide receiver start of any player on the year, just with that consistency against the Jets. Yeah, it's a good matchup. Calvin Ridley, who hasn't been super great recently at all, against Carolina. It's a game where Atlanta doesn't have anything to play for, but they are playing divisional matchups. They have divisional pride in that sense. It's in Carolina though. Yeah. Chris Herndon against Green Bay. Who cares? I'm actually excited to watch that game. I think it'll be fun to watch Darnold versus Rodgers, but whatever. Robbie Anderson is flex.
He did all right last week, but
in the week before too. But against Buffalo and against Houston, that's not too bad. Green Bay, yeah.
Logan's got to hope for a high-scoring Jets-Packers game.
Those ones are weird because it's neither team really has anything to play for. So it's just kind of I don't know. Kemi Fairbairn, total baller, good every week. See, his only defense he has is the Dallas defense against Tampa Bay. I think I'm fine starting that because, well,
Winston throws picks.
Yeah.
I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, I think for fantasy purposes, that's pretty fine. And then let's go down here now to JP's roster. Still trying to start Tom Brady. That's, it hasn't been a great season by any means, but and against Buffalo, I don't see that changing too much either. David Johnson, Lamar Miller with an injury as always, but let's see. He's limited with an ankle injury. Did he practice? Limited in practice Wednesday, so we'll play. Yeah, David Johnson against the Rams, and I don't know. Let's see, Deshaun Hamilton and Julian Edelman as wide receivers. Julian Edelman was pretty invisible last week. Oh, no, he had the one touchdown, so I think he was fine. Or no, he didn't have a touchdown? Wait, what am I thinking of? Who scored against the Steelers? Oh, Hogan had the touchdown. Hogan
other
had the
wide
touchdown.
receiver.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess he was fine. He's an okay starter, but Buffalo, yeah, I was saying about Buffalo, not super excited to start anyone against them. Tyler Lockett's been, been all right. The last 2 weeks, not so much, but he's been a pretty solid start most of the season. Gronk got the Thanos snap last week, as I was talking about. Basically double teamed him the entire game, and that's how you beat the Patriots, apparently. Jacksonville's defense against Miami. Yeah, another game with teams. With Jacksonville doesn't have anything to play for.
Miami Bowl.
Yeah, besides for the Miami, besides for the Florida Bowl. Do you have any thoughts on JP's roster here?
Really, all that I see is, like, the Pats are at home, which they're so much better at home this season.
Yeah.
Which is good. But Deshaun Hamilton. Does he have anyone else better to start than Deshaun Hamilton?
Humphreys, Deshaun Jackson, Marquise Goodwin. Those are his options here.
Yeah. God, come on, guys in the toilet bowl, have better teams.
Well, I mean, yeah. What do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, it's classic Jake team where it's just hoping that the Patriots score a lot of points and then they go to the people on Jake's team. They're playing Buffalo, which isn't a good sign, but they're at home, which is.
Yeah.
Good luck, Jake.
Do you have a winner pick in this matchup?
I gotta go with JP just because there's no one there's no one that I'd want from Logan's team besides Kaimi Fairbairn and Devontae Adams.
I'd be fine starting Lamar Jackson, but yeah, besides for that, and Devontae Adams. Yeah.
Yes.
I think I'm probably gonna go with Logan in this one, but I mean, it's whatever. Yeah, Logan, I'm pulling for you, dude. Back-to-back 11th place victories. Let's go.
I noticed something that I think is interesting.
Yeah?
The championship game is Rotlack. The third place game and the consolation championship game is Alphas. And the toilet bowl game is Studs and Stoners.
Whoops. Come on, guys. I'm up here representing us. Beat Levi this week. Lost to the guy in the first round of playoffs who made the championship. Can't complain too much. Anyways, alrighty. So yeah, we didn't pick the championship game.
We did not.
Did you want to make a pick, or do you not want to jinx it?
I mean, I'll pick Dylan.
I'll pick Dylan as well. I'm not sure who I'm pulling for because I feel like Dylan puts in a lot of work. Justin's my fellow commissioner. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter who I'm pulling for, but I guess I'd pick Dylan too, for sure.
I'm pulling for Dylan.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, it's good to have the people who like actually try winning, and Justin has tried this season. I think he's tried this season more than any other season, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be happy. I think some previous seasons, or at least like last season, it'd be like, I'm not sure. I'm super, like, so last season the championship was you versus Levi.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I'm not, totally driving on a Levi win because of, like, last season, his brother controlled his team for like the entire season, and it's like, man, I just kind of want someone in our league to win. But this year, I'm totally cool with either team winning. So yeah.
I'd feel bad because, at the draft, I gave Justin that advice on Dalvin Cook versus Christian McCaffrey, and Dylan was going to draft Christian McCaffrey right after.
Yeah.
And I feel bad about that. No more help, Justin.
Yeah.
Learn.
No more help. Alrighty. So yeah, let's talk quickly now about the rest of the matchups here. I guess we have you versus Tyler in the third place matchup here. I haven't really looked at it. Do you have thoughts on your side here?
Not really. I don't know. I don't know. Tyler's got good wide receivers.
Yeah.
And Nick Chubb's playing Cincinnati, which is really scary.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like I got this. But Rams defense versus Arizona, where I have Bears defense versus San Francisco. Defense has just scarred me, man. Ugh.
Yeah, I'd like to see a good get-right game for Dak Prescott as the Cowboys continue to try and push for the playoffs on your side. Melvin Gordon's going to come back. Alvin Kamara. You get the star power on your side here, although Nick Chubb is definitely a rising star in the league. probably a get-right game for Tyreek Hill, too, as the Kansas City tries to set their course back to and continue on their journey to securing the number 1 seed in the AFC. Dougie B, yeah, I'd probably go with you on this one. But yeah, I don't know. The Steelers the Steelers are not safe, guaranteeing the playoffs here. Even though we do have Cincinnati week 17, a lot of people have already chalked that one up as a win. A divisional game against a bad team. It's a recipe for disaster against the Steelers, so I think they need to come out firing on all cylinders. I think AB could be definitely a recipient of that for Tyler's side here. So I think it's pretty close in this one. I'm not super sure.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah. And then the rest of the matchups here, I guess we have myself versus Levi. On Sleeper, it doesn't even give us a match, which is like, I think then we'll just like do a cumulative score between me and Levi. So let's look down at our rosters this week. And I think I outscore him by like 5 points this last week. So, I mean, whoever wins this matchup this week should probably win it all. Less than 3 points. Mm-hmm. So let's look at, I guess we'll pick we'll go Levi first because he's higher up here. Cam Newton's still dealing with the shoulder injury. He's not even going to play anymore. That's right. So let's see. He doesn't have any other quarterback on his roster. He changed his name to retired. I think that might be
he might not
an accurate statement.
Pick up a quarterback.
I hope he does because I think I don't want to win like that. But Jeffrey Wilson against Chicago. Mark Ingram versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not great matchups at all, especially that Steelers defensive line has really been shutting down running backs recently. DeAndre Hopkins against Philadelphia, though, that's a good matchup. And see, limited practice Wednesday. I don't remember what his injury was. What is he injured with?
Probably just hanging out.
Probably just hanging
jerking
out. It. Yeah, just chilling. I definitely assume he'll play. Michael Thomas against Pittsburgh as well. Kelsey against Seattle. Not a great matchup. And two teams that really want to win this week. It's in Seattle too, so I wouldn't call that a good matchup for him either. So not a whole lot I'm liking on Levi's side here besides for like DeAndre Hopkins, and then Michael Thomas, who hasn't been very elite in the last several weeks.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was reading about this morning. He just hasn't gotten it together in the last month or so. Although against Tampa Bay, it's a bit of an outlier here, but hasn't been as consistent as maybe the narrative around him has been this season. We'll see if he starts a quarterback or not. And then let's look at my roster here. I in a way constructed my roster as I always do, going 3 weeks out of the playoffs to try and secure these weeks, and I secured these good matchups with some of my stud players here. Ben against New Orleans, Philip Lindsay against Oakland, Sonny Michel against Buffalo, Allen Robinson against San Francisco, and Juju against New Orleans. Feeling good about all of those, except for maybe Sonny Michel. Although Philip Lindsay didn't do a whole lot for me last week, unfortunately, the last 2 weeks. But what are you gonna do? A good get-right game against Oakland, and Sonny Michel, didn't do much the last several weeks too. But I do have Tariq Cohen I could always throw in there and find someone else for my flex. Vans, I don't tight ends, who cares? And then I'm sticking with my boy Jake Elliott no matter what. Right or die, even though he missed that 52-yarder in the last game, still 14 points. Denver defense has been pretty good for me too. I do have Trubisky, which I don't know. I only ever picked him off waivers to play keep away. And I don't know. Maybe I should start him just for the heck of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not, but maybe I'll get Sammy back this week too. I feel like I haven't had Sammy in so long. Oh my God, I haven't had a good weekend from Sammy in 6 weeks. Man, that's unfortunate. Anyways, do you have any notes on my roster here?
Not really. You probably got this.
Yeah, I think so. Alrighty. Last matchup of the week. 10th place matchup, I guess. Fighting for...
Yeah.
No, 9th.
Yes.
9th place.
This is very important.
Fighting for 9th. Lassie versus Greg. Greg barely avoiding the clutches.
Lassie, who some people said was one of the best teams in the league right before playoffs, versus Greg, who some people said was the worst team in the league.
Yes.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Lassie here is, for some reason, trying to do that mind game thing of not putting any of his players in a starting position here, besides for Josh Gordon, who's out for the season.
Uh-huh.
Good luck in thoughts and prayers with Josh Gordon. Hopefully he gets his head back on straight for next season. If he's allowed back in, poor guy.
Mm-hmm.
But let's look here on Lassie's roster. Josh Allen at quarterback, is that his only option here that I'm seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Which would make sense because he has a million defenses in his bench here. I talked about the Buffalo New England matchup enough, I think. Aaron Jones, who's going to be out, put on IR this week. But he does have Saquon and LaShawn McCoy to play at running back. I think Saquon had a down week this week, but you never count him out. And LaShawn McCoy, I think, didn't even do anything this last week. I think they're on like their 5th string running back in that game, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So hopefully they get him back and can, maybe play spoiler in New England. And then wide receiver wise, Jarvis Landry against Cincinnati, Amari Cooper versus Tampa Bay. That's a good one.
That's spooky.
Yeah, that could be it could be huge. And then Golden Tate versus Houston. I don't know why he's still rostered, honestly.
Yeah.
Wide receiver is looking pretty all right here, I would say. And then tight end Jared Cook, who's been, I don't know if quietly, but he's been one of the better tight ends in the league this season.
Yeah.
Fantasy-wise and real football-wise. A lot of people chalk him in as a snub in the Pro Bowl this season. And then 2 kickers, who cares? 4 defenses, Bills, Lions, Vikings, Patriots.
Am I starting the Vikings or the Patriots?
Yeah.
Vikings.
Yeah, I'd think so too, just because Buffalo has a tendency to play New England well. Anyways. And then who's last? Greg? That's lots to talk about. Aaron Rodgers or Jameis Winston. Probably. I don't know. Rodgers says he's been practicing in fall, and he said that he would be upset if they just, even though the Packers are out of the playoffs, he'd be upset if they aren't still fighting for these last couple of games. So I still think he's a good start. Peyton Barber.
It's been pretty good.
Yeah, against Dallas, not a great matchup. Lenny against Miami here in the Florida Bowl. Probably good start. Tyler Boyd.
Greg's roster, man.
Yeah. And Mohamed Sanu. Let's see what else he has at wide receiver. That's it. Oh, AJ Green. That's right. But he's, MIA. Not great in the receiver. Vernon Davis at tight end. Who's been throwing the ball to him now? Is it
Josh Johnson?
That's right, Josh Johnson.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. And then DT and his flex. I don't know. He's like kind of found a role in the offense, but I don't know. Baltimore defense, or the Redskins defense, Chargers or Tennessee. Man, imagine rostering the Redskins defense in the year 2018. I guess there isn't much option on the waivers, but
there's literally no.
Yeah. So I guess if we were to pick a team in this matchup, how is this not the last place matchup? But I don't know.
This is truly a league of the haves and the have-nots right now.
Yeah, I guess I just pick Lassie because of Amari Cooper and Saquon. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Greg just because nothing makes sense.
Nothing makes sense. Alrighty, those are all the matchups this week. Good luck to everyone in your matchups this week. Get that consolation glory, I guess, and try to avoid being in last place. And I've already said good luck to Dylan and to Justin, respectively. Last up, we have our mailbag. We have one question here from Alex, which I probably should have actually thought about this before. But he said, which member of your league is which Super Smash Bros. Character based on how they run their team?
All right.
Some really poor grammar there, I gotta say.
Yeah. But this goes out to all those people that have been, smashing it up there recently.
Yeah.
One I have is Dylan is definitely Cloud when Dylan plays Cloud because he's been playing very defensively recently, just picking up a whole bunch of handcuffs or people that his opponents could play against him. Classic Dylan, just standing there away from people, throwing his green laser sword thingy forward, just trying not to get hit. But then, every once in a while he charged it up super strong and then does that big one, which automatically kills people, as his team can do.
Yeah.
Other ones I got are, my team is Little Mac,
okay,
which is kind of similar because, every once in a while I can charge up that KO and get that one big hit. but then also I can just do my side B and jump off the stage and kill myself. Happens often.
Yep.
Yeah. You got any other good ones?
Let me think. Maybe I want to say that that Logan is like Pichu because all he does is hurt himself with all of his acquiring of Jets players. Other ones here. Lassie's team is kind of like the Ice Climbers because when he loses his Josh Gordon or you lose your Nana, you're just bones. You got nothing left.
All right.
All right, we did our best.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. Alrighty. So thank you all for listening to another episode of Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I have been Cam. I have been Frank. Thank you all listening to another episode of Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I have been Frankie.
You're going to keep that in, right?
I don't know what I'm going to do.
And I've been Cam.
And good luck to everyone on your matchups this week. We'll come at you next week with a recap of the championship games. I guess a preview of the Pro Bowl matchups.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe other stuff. Who knows?
I think maybe people should get in topics that they want to talk about for maybe like things to change for the league in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can just have a quick discussion on what people are feeling.
Yeah, we can do like a whole like season retrospective.
Yeah.
People can like if people wanted to like submit questions or voice clips or something or I mean y'all are here in Tigard. That's still next week, right? By next Wednesday still, of course. That's like right after Christmas. So I mean y'all can just stop by my room and record something if you'd like. But yeah, we will do that. Alrighty. Catch y'all next time.
Have a nice championship weekend.